Well, it shows when India are at full strength, they're a very, very good side and they're going to be hard to beat. I think there's still a few question marks for India. For England, without Owen Morgan, we lost the series, which is not ideal. Well, it was an absolutely unbelievable innings. Yes, it was on a losing cause.
Right, so let's of course talk about the one-day international series which beckons, but before that, have to pick Goughy's mind about the T20 series, as it of course ended 2-1 in India's favour. Darren Gough, your first thoughts and biggest takeaways from this series on both parts, India and England?
Well, it shows when India are at full strength, they're a very, very good side and they're going to be hard to beat. I think there's still a few question marks for India that they need to sort out before a World Cup. For England, without Owen Morgan, we lost the series, which is not ideal. It's a learning curve. We got lots of positives from the series though as well. But when you look back, the better team of the two probably won the series. So India deserved to win it. They could got into a position where they could rest some players for that last game before the one-day series starts. And England had to finish on a high, and they did. They finished with a win.
Right, now we'll talk about England in just a bit, but we'll start with India because they had some experiments up their sleeve. One, of course, was Pant opening the batting in T20 internationals. It's a new move. Do you agree with this move?
Well, I think I told you quite early on, a week ago, when we first had the first chat, I would have Virat Kohli opening the batting with Rohit Sharma, and I'd have Pant at 3. So I'd do it slightly different. But that's where I believe India should go. If they're going to keep Kohli in the side, I think he has to open with Rohit, put Rishabh Pant at 3, and then the rest of it speaks for itself. The rest of the team just adds up there. So that's the way I think India should go.
Okay. What about Bhuvneshwar Kumar then? We've been heaping praise upon him in the previews, but even in the review, I'm guessing it merits one because he was simply exceptional in those first 2 games.
Well, Bhuvi, I think it goes to show whether it be a pink ball, a white ball or a red ball, Bhuvi is unbelievable with that new ball. He's got terrific skills at will. He can swing the ball in and out. It looks like he prefers in one-day cricket, in T20 cricket, to bring the ball back into the right-hander. And he got that down to a T to Josh Buttler. He bowled really well to Buttler. He tied him up, gave him no freedom to hit the ball. And it showed his class throughout the whole series. And he's a terrific bowler. And I'm sure he'll swing the ball as well in Australia. So he's a definite starter for India. Him and Bumrah at the top of the order, they set India off from everyone else. Them two together, bowl as a partnership, and they are very, very difficult to get away.
Pertinent points. And talk about starters for India. Suryakumar Yadav certainly cementing spot further. What was that knock? I mean, 117 of 55. He laced, I think, 6 sixes in the innings. Talk to me about Suryakumar Yadav and sky being the limit, pun intended.
Well, it was an absolutely unbelievable innings. Yes, it was on a losing cause, but it goes to show players like that have so much value to any team. When you look as though you're totally out of the game, to go in and play an innings like that, show great maturity, he was so inventive with his shots. And England have got players like that as well. They've got Livingston, we know can play that type of innings. I don't think yet they've found the right place for him to bat. I think the Livingston, it looks like they're using someone in the power play to go in and try and beat the infield. I would have kept Livingston back and used Livingston as someone who comes in later as a finisher. But it looks like England tried to use him this series as someone who could really go after the new ball. And I don't think that's the right move for a Livingston. But Yadav was absolutely sensational, a top player. And when we're talking about whether he was going to be that 100% starter, I think he's again another nailed-on starter for India come the World Cup.
Yeah, fingers crossed, of course. No injury plagues him or anything of that sort. Let's, of course, ask you about England right now because it's, less than 100 days to the grand showpiece in Australia. What's their biggest headache so far? I know the likes of Jofra Archer and Mark Wood weren't tested in the series because they weren't there. But what about the rest of the problems, Goughy?
Well, the problem but I think with David Malan, he obviously plays for my club Yorkshire, but I think if he would have failed yesterday, I think he would have found it very difficult to maintain his place. I think not because he's not good enough, I just think that England seem to be stuck on where they're going to go on that number 3 position. Is it going to be a Root? Is it going to be Stokes? Is it going to be Bairstow? Or is it going to be Malan? And I think it's going to be interesting when they come to the World Cup who they actually do play at 3. I think the top 2 speak for themselves with Roy and Buttler. But at 3, they've got a huge decision to make. Is it going to be Malan? Is it going to be Root? Is it going to be Stokes? Is it going to be Bairstow? And it'll be interesting to see where they go with that now, because Milan played a terrific innings yesterday for England, batting first. He played some wonderful shots, and he's put his name back up in lights, and it'll be very, very difficult to leave him out.
Yeah, that's a real head scratcher for England. Let's see how that story unfolds in due course of time.